Good evening, sir.
Good
Hi,
evening, Darshan.
friends.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Good
good
evening.
person. Right, so has Siddharth joined? I saw his name before I started the call. You all hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, Darshan, what is the reason for leaving in 60 minutes? 6 till 6 o'clock, you said. You have any?
That's
What is the agenda?
I have my scholastic classes. The final classes today, so
Right, okay.
yeah, I thought like within six I could join for 40 minutes or something.
Yeah,
By tomorrow
after,
I'll be
no,
like I'll attend
right,
the full session.
right. Okay, so we will start. And yesterday we finished the activity called as My Fortune with the Fortune Bag. Guru Prasanna, Taneshwar, and C.B. Adityan made a presentation on that. And today, Siddharth mentioned that he has a presentation and he hasn't joined us yet. So we will see if he joins. So, Taneshwar, your weekly presentation, is it ready or are you making it tomorrow? Any presentation ready with you? No, I'm not hearing you.
I'm making the presentation tomorrow.
All right, okay. Right. Okay, so right, so today's activity is a little different one. Um, you know, except the people who have taken break, like Mitra, Satam, all the other people are here, and we will make it half lively because after Dakshin leaves, then I don't think we'll be having time. So then, just like yesterday, we will have the OBT. So, Guru Prasanna, update your OBT yesterday. After the session, what was your OBT process?
Yes, sir. Sir, like as you said, sir, I did push-ups for 15 minutes, sir, and planks for 10 minutes, sir. Before doing that, I just did stretching and speed walking, sir.
Okay, so 35 minutes is the total duration of your outbound activity.
Yes, sir. Sir, I thought of updating it, sir. As you told, we can update it in direct, so that I did not update, sir.
That's okay. That's okay. Tanishwar, what was your OBT yesterday?
So I spent 10 minutes warm up and then 20 minutes of workout and then 5 minutes of cool down. And then in the warm up, I just did like basic stretches. And in the workout, I just did the regular things like the lifting weights and stuff. And then cool down, I just walked around. That.
Why is it like your audio is very challenging these days? Previously your audio used to be very, very clear. But now
Well,
in today's session, yesterday's,
I'm on a different
you're on?
computer. I'll wear headphones.
Yeah, you have to because we hardly get anything from your voice. Yeah, Siddharth,
Yes, sir.
what went wrong? You totally got the announcement in a different way, and you are only here on Friday. You have skipped 2 sessions, 3 sessions of winter sessions. What went wrong?
Sir, the last session that I was in, you said like you would come next class when Dr. Now was with us for to complete the thing we did last class, the skit preparation we made. So I thought we would come back on Friday and then come back on Friday, do it on come back on Friday, do it on Friday, and then we'll have some other activity on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. Right. Okay, so yeah, the activity that was pending last week, it's going to be done tomorrow because, you know, Dakshin leaves halfway through today, so there's no point in continuing the activity. So tomorrow you can stick up with the schedule. That is, once I send the link, you come. You know, you promised last week that you need only just 5 or 10 minutes for your wrap. That is the your final level of discussion. So tomorrow, once I send the link, you take the first 10 minutes and 15 minutes, and then you straight away get into the presentation. Dakshin, is that okay?
Yes, sir, that'll be fine. Maybe 15 minutes,
Right.
sir.
So yeah, you can take it up. Right. So that your presentation is on now. Go on.
Okay, sir. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today I will do a mini tour of Japan. Where is Japan? Japan is located east of North and South Korea, which is about right here, which is located east of China in this area, which is located northeast of India. That's above India. And then in Japan itself, there's many regions like these: Kyushu, Shikoku, Chugoku, Kansai, Chubu, Kanto, Tohoku, and Hokkaido. The many regions in Japan, and then there's many cities going along with it. And then I have a timeline of Japan here with a few more slides. In 660 BC, Japan's first emperor ascends to the throne. His name is Emperor Jimmu. He is known to be the descendant of a sun goddess for the Japans, Amaterasu. In 400 AD, the first unified states in Japan appeared. They started working together in large colonies and large cities. In 550 AD, Buddhism arrived to Japan through Korea and China. When it arrived in Japan, they made it their own version of it, later known as Japanese Buddhism. In 800 AD, Japan severs its links with the mainland. They started to adapt cultures and traditions from China. When they did this, they went into a state of isolationism, so they didn't take any input from outsiders, and they didn't allow anyone from the outside countries. In 1192, Japan's first shogunate is established. A shogunate is like a military army. The military leaders have more power than the emperor. This type of ruling ends in 1867, though. The first shogunate was in Kamakura, Japan. In 1281, the Kamakura shogunate collapses. This is when the Mongol Empire tried to take over Japan, but they were destroyed by the kamikazes that were sponsored by the shogunate. The kamikaze translate to English is called typhoon winds. Kamikazes are pretty much when pilots inside a plane sacrifice themselves and crash the plane into the army. In 1603, the Tokugawa shogunate reunifies the country. After reunifying, Japan isolates themselves from the world, allowing their culture to flourish. They persecuted and expelled Christians, Europeans, and segments of population Cathay under the restrictions of isolationism. Then, in 1854, the Convention of Kanagawa opens Japan to the West. Commodore Matthew Perry and the U.S. Navy forced Japan into Convention of Kanagawa to reopen to the West and begin trading. In 1688, the Meiji Restoration introduced Western ideas. The Emperor Meiji proclaims that imperial power has been restored to Japan, though a group of general or elder statesmen are truly in control. In 1894, Japan begins to expand its empire. After modernizing the government and economy, Japan aims to create an Eastern Empire. In 1931, Japan resumes its imperialist ambitions in the East. Global economic troubles in the 1930s contribute to Japan's government becoming increasingly militaristic and aggressive. In 1945, the US drops atomic bombs in Japan. The use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki forced Japan to surrender to the Allied powers, thus ending World War II. The reason the US bombed Japan was because of World War II and because of Japan taking over so many countries the US had ties with. So the US wanted to take some revenge and they bombed Japan in the end. They bombed locations, major cities such as Hiroshima and Nagasaki. When the US bombed Hiroshima, they completely flattened the city to dust, but now they rebuilt most of it and it looks pretty good. In 1945, August 28th, the US occupies Japan, following Japan's surrender. The US occupies the country. This was World War II ending it. And in 2011, the Fukushima nuclear disaster occurs. Japan suffers the largest earthquake in its recorded history, and the earthquake damages the Fukushima nuclear power plant, causing it to explode. Next, I have a few famous landmarks in Japan. Some of them include Shibuya Crossing, Arashiyama Bamboo Grove, Mount Fuji, Fushimi Inari Taisha, Daibutsu, and Tokyo Tower. Some of these you might have heard of, like Tokyo Tower and Mount Fuji, but others like Daibutsu or Fushimi Inari Taisha, you might have not heard of them. So the Shibuya Crossing is often called the world's busiest pedestrian scramble. It's pretty much a normal crossing, but there's crisscross from corner to corner too, and it's a crossing used by thousands of people in a single day, thousands or even millions. Next, the Arashiyama Bamboo Grove. It's the beauty and mystery of the Arashiyama Bamboo Grove in Kyoto have never been replicated anywhere else on Earth, so it's all natural. Next, the Mount Fuji. This beautiful mountain near Tokyo has been a symbol of Japan. Then the Fushimi Inari Taisha, the long path of brightly colored torii, or gateway, leading up to the shrine has been featured in countless films. So it's pretty much a gateway kind of thing. It, I have the picture of that later, I'm pretty sure. It looks pretty cool, and it has Japanese writings on the gateway itself. Next, the Daibutsu. The Daibutsu, or Great Buddha, can be found in Nara, in the Buddhist temple of Todaiji. It's pretty much a big statue of the great statue of Buddha. There's many across Japan, but this one's the most famous ones. And then finally, we have Tokyo Tower. Tokyo's original tower landmark will always be the one and only to some. Next, I have some famous cities in Japan and why they're famous, kind of. So first you have Tokyo, of course. Lying at the heart of the most populated place in the world, Tokyo has just under 40 million people living within its metropolis. Then Kyoto, the former capital of the former capital of Japan, drips with history and is reputed to be the nation's most beautiful city. Next we have Hiroshima. Lying in western Hanzu, Hiroshima's history will forever be linked to the atomic bomb which flattened the city on August 6, 1945. Next, we have Kanazawa, with beautiful temples, ancient shrines, and a range of fantastic museums. This charming city, lying on the Sea of Japan, is not to be missed. Nara, which is considered to be the birthplace of Japanese civilization, this ancient former capital has a wealth of historic sites for visitors to enjoy. And finally, Osaka. Although the endless concrete buildings do not make Osaka a pretty place by any means, the profusion of neon light certainly adds color and life to the city. The language. As you can see back here in the background, there are some symbols and what they mean in Japanese, like this is sky, things like that. So language. Japanese is an East Asian language spoken by about 128 million people, primarily in Japan, where it is the national language. Japanese, Chinese, and Korean writing and language are often mixed up because of their similarities. To people who aren't from that region, all of them will look and sound pretty much the same, But to the people from these regions, they're completely different, as English is to Tamil. That's how different it is. The common ancestor of the Japanese and Ryukyuan languages is thought to have been brought to Japan by settlers coming from the Korean peninsula. Here on the left side is Japanese, middle is Korean, and here is Chinese. You can see how similar they are by the symbols and the lines and the way they use the lines. Japanese culture. Shintoism and Buddhism. These are the main religions practiced in Japan. Shintoism has been practiced in Japan for over 2,000 years. Because Shintoism has a lot to do with rituals, some Japanese may not feel it is a religion at all, but rather a way to celebrate many of Japan's social traditions. Many daily deeds that are done, good or bad, most people know that in the name of Buddhism, they will get the reward and punishment they deserve. Once Buddhism started in India, it quickly spread through all the countries because countries such as China, South Korea, and Japan, people from these countries started believing Buddhism, and they had millions of followers in a matter of years. And that is all. Thank you.
Good job, Siddharth.
Thank you very much.
Siddharth.
Good job, Siddharth.
Right, so that was a very good presentation, and we really felt that we had a good sketch view of Japan. My first question to you, Siddharth, is Japanese people have always been so much reserved as far as the other western part of the countries. Like for them, the western part of countries is Middle East, and for them it is the northern part of countries or Australia and the US. So these people have always been carrying a kind of a chauvinism, like a eccentric, a kind of dominance in their thoughts that they should not be following the other people's culture. You know, one of the ancient etymology writings comes up with the revelation that Indonesia, China, Japan, and to a marginal extent Korea, these four nations have always been keeping themselves away from extracting good qualities and extracting the culture from the other countries. They seldom think about India. That's a different story altogether. But the globally economic sound countries, like the countries, even if they are you hearing me, Siddharth?
Yeah, I can hear you now, sir, but before my Skype just crashed and made me log out.
I understand. Now, from which part of the question you had been following?
I just showed up and you're talking about Indonesia, China, saying that India was forgotten.
All right, got it, got it. Now I'll rephrase the question. My question is that countries like Indonesia, China, Japan, and Korea to an extent always keep themselves in a different extent of understanding, and they don't want to have this behavior of following other countries. If you take India, we follow many countries. We, in fact, consider the other countries as inspiration. And a country considering other country as an inspiration is a very good, it's in turn, it's a fantastic way of uplifting the country's prosperity. But if you take Japan and countries like China, these people always keep themselves very centric, and they don't want their books, their historical books to read that they have been following this country, they have been following that country. So they always wanted to be self-sufficient. And a country wanting to be self-sufficient is a good tactic. And I really appreciate that. But why do you think Japan or countries like China are so thought-centric that they should not be depending upon the other countries? And what are they trying to prove? What point they are trying to prove by being so?
Sir, so I know for sure China is like self-centric because of the way they have government itself. Because in the world, they're the only country remaining that still does communism. Yeah, they're the only one that does communism. North Korea, we can talk about that later because they're more of like a dictatorship. So for China, because of their communism, they only believe in themselves. Share with, they kind of share with each other but the government itself rules above them all, and they control every movement and action of the citizens in their country. No, they can't really look at other countries as a inspiration because they have a different way of ruling, and they think that they're much better because of the way they're doing, and that the way other people are doing are wrong, and this is the way we must do it. That's how it is for most people. And then for Japan, it might be because of all the things and culture they have. You might be thinking, yeah, we're so much better than them. Look at what we have. We're the most famous in animation, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. So that's why that might be the reasons why they're more self-centered.
Well, that's a good insight. My next question to you is the meditation, mind terming concepts, and the spiritual way of living. Robin Sharma, one of the Indian authors, he writes in his books that most of the mind taming principles have been extracted from countries like Japan. There is another school of thought that the mind taming concepts traditionally have been taken from our own nation, India. And one school of thought says it is from extracted from Buddhism. One school of thought says, if you take China for that example, that school of thought says birthplace. China is the birthplace of all those spiritual teachings and spiritual way of living. And the Shaolin Temple has been discovered by a Tamil king, but nobody is willing to accept that. But they have got their own ways and means of raising their culture, raising their linguistics. You spoke about the language in the presentation, that was pretty impressive. Raising their linguistics, raising their niche power, NICHE. When I say niche, the special power of the country. Uh, Being an Indian, where do you think this martial arts and this yogic concept and meditation concept, where do you think these things have emerged? In our country or in countries like Japan?
I think these kind of things emerge from the Buddhism that we have. But like after the years of religion spreading throughout, people must have done things such as like um I forgot the word for it, but like adapting it to themselves and to their own country, like adapting it so that they can use it as a weapon, use it as meditation, things like that. But most of it must have started off with Buddhism because that was the main religion that spread throughout those Eastern countries.
My last question, before I hand over the floor to the other people to question you, it's one among the vast presentations you have ever made. How did this presentation help you? What kind of learning did this presentation exclusively give you?
For me, this presentation has taught me many things. Some of them including like there's different regions in Japan. I didn't know about that. I thought it was just like one big country with no states and just cities split around. But now I know there's different regions to it, and like each region it has like a master of its own. So one region could be the master of like selling stuff or exporting stuff, things like that. And I also learned a lot about the past of Japan from the timeline, which is very helpful that I can use later on. And then there's also the landmarks and like the famous cities and why they are. So next time if I do go to Japan, I know what cities to go to. So yay. I don't think that's gonna happen because I don't know Japanese. But I also learned about a new religion called Shintoism, or like a practice called Shintoism. I didn't know about that before. It was pretty cool. Like it was in practice in Japan for over 2,000 years ago, but I've never heard of it. So yeah.
What do you think about the food habits? Vegetarian Congress of various nations think that Japan is earning a lot of sins by killing a lot of animals, reptiles, and herbivores, carnivores. They kill a lot of animals and they are inviting a lot of sins to their head. That is a school of thought. That is a school of thought by most of the Vegetarian Congress of countries. Like in countries like Europe, people have started becoming vegans. They When I say vegan, what I mean is stopping all the adverse habits and stopping to consume the non-vegetarian food. So what's your thought about that?
So in Japan, I just think they eat everything that's edible. I guess edible and not that doesn't harm their health directly. because I know that in Japan there are many good chefs that will use all kinds of ingredients to create a lot of cool foods, and they also have like tons of five-star chefs that make good cuisine, I think. So I think that's why they use those materials to get better food or master better food.
And do you think they were safe during this COVID-19 pandemic? How safe were they?
I don't really know what they did during COVID-19 because I didn't research about it or hear anything about Japan on the news either. So I can just think that they must have isolated themselves for a while, like just like a normal lockdown for a few months. But the thing they continued eating the food they had, but just limited the amount they exported or imported to people.
All right. Okay. Right. Anyway, that's a very good presentation. So I really liked it. Good job.
Thank you very much, sir.
Questions to Siddharth. Who's holding the questions? Guru Prasanna is holding the hand.
Can I
Yeah,
go
you can
after
go.
this?
Yeah, Dakshin, you can go after Guru Prasanna. All right, Guru Prasanna, go.
Yes, sir. So that like as sir told, I really enjoyed and I learned many new things about Japan because I had never like thought of hearing like I thought of getting the knowledge about Japan. You have told that, and I will definitely say it will be useful for me at some time. And the presentation, like as sir told, like this was the best presentation, I'll say, because like you took a lot of effort and time while doing the presentations, like or else in the other presentations also you could say you took the effort, but like the time was very limited and you were not elaborating many things, but in this presentation you did that really well. So my question is that, like just think like it's first my first question is that just think you wanted to visit an Asian country without India, which Asian country will you go?
For me, yeah, I would go to Japan if I knew how to speak the language and knew how to do the proper things. I would go to Japan because I know a bit about their culture and a bit about how they act and a bit about the things they do from the presentation right now and other things I've done before. So that's why I would go to Japan if I knew the language.
Okay, so that the next question is like Japan like became developed earlier, like in 1970 or so. Like at that, besides being developed, their population is not uh, comparable with India. Like, do you think is it possible to have a population like India?
Uh, I If they had more land, I think they could. But right now, because of how much land they have right now, they can't really have that much population. So many people nowadays, after growing up in Japan, they leave the country because of how little space there is left in Japan. Japan itself is like a small island, but it's big enough to be called a country. So that's why it's there in the first place. But itself is very small, and there's not that much land people can use to create buildings or structures and
Yes,
most
that
of the and most of the usable land is already used for like corporate buildings or things.
yes, that. Sir, I'll ask one question, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. So, Siddharth, like you mentioned all the things about Japan. In that, what do you like the most? Is it Japan's history or Japan's culture or Japan's language?
For me, it would be Japan. The most interesting would be the Japan's language, but what I like the most is Japan's history. The language itself is interesting because of the way they use the lines, because that's not the way we use it for Tamil or for English. And then for the history itself, it's interesting because of all the things they've done in the past, like taken part in World War II, things like that, and they've also gone through many isolation, ruining their own empire by going into war, Buddhism, and then kamikazes, things like that. So it's all pretty interesting.
Yes, Siddharth, thank you. Sir, what language do you like, sir?
Yeah, so what language do
Tamil.
you?
Tamil.
If
I like
you
Tamil.
were in some other Asian country,
I would always love English, Siddharth, because English has got a lot of interpretation. It has got its own politeness into it. Uh, you know, the kind of uh, reach that it contains, the language itself it contains. I specifically like the US accent instead of this UK accent. And if you ask me, the next favorite is Hindi. I like Hindi very much. It has got its own brimness into the language, and the linguistics creation itself is wonderful. Hindi has got touches with Sanskrit. It touches some of the script ingredients of Malayalam. It touches some of the script ingredients of Maharashtra, of course, Marathi, and plenty of other languages. One language spreads its wings to various scripts of the other languages. Okay, so apart from my own nation's languages, like English, I mean Tamil and Hindi, if you ask me some other country's language, I would say Chinese. I hate to admit this, but Chinese. I read an article in Chinese language and Japanese language. You don't get throat infection that easily because in pronouncing a word, you use this ujjayi breath. There is something called as ujjayi breath, Ujjai. The ujjayi breath is from the the foot pipe, from your windpipe, and you take the energy of pronouncing a word from there. So when you are in a language which puts you in that kind of exercise of using the diaphragm so much, and it keeps your health very sturdy, then it's a real cool fact, right? So I'm not very interested about that country, and I see. I'm not speaking as a trainer. I'm speaking as an ordinary individual. I don't like China for the kind of commercial success that they had by making all of us fools in some of the areas, specifically after COVID-19 pandemic. But I should admit this: if a language that is putting you on a proper health rigor, then it is Chinese, because Bruce Lee once mentioned in his Jeet Kune Do book that Chinese language is in itself is a kind of a breathing exercise. He used to say that in that book. And when he makes a fist punch, the 1 inch punch, which Bruce Lee is very famous about. So when he does that 1 inch punch, he screams. You know, he howls like a screech, right? So he says that that is a kind of a breathing exercise. So puts you in a proper health regard. Dakshin.
I'd like to just answer Guru's question. So, like, which is my favorite language?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, sir, I love a lot of languages, but me, outside any Indian language, it's probably English is my favorite language ever, and because I've really fallen in love with this language, and that's why I try to explore various accents, like from different places. For me, like learning an accent is almost like learning a language, and like accent is just like speaking a language in with your rules, your set of rules. That's what it is basically. And apart from learning accents, I also love some European languages like Spanish, French, and German, and all that. So those are some of my favorite languages. And also, I think Japanese and Chinese are like too complicated. I've tried like in the other European languages, it's like very similar to English. They use the same alphabets, and so it's easy to pronounce. It's easier to pronounce them. But when I look at someone speaking Chinese or Japanese, I really like can't make out even a single word. So I
right.
like to. It's very difficult, and I'd like to just learn either one of them at some point in the future. I'd love to.
Well, right.
And
That's good.
also, like if you start too late for Chinese, it's practically over because they have like more than 200 characters in their alphabets, and it'll take a lot of time for you to just learn all the alphabet first. And so that's what in even one of the stand-up comedians which I watched, he made a joke about China where he said that the Chinese must have the worst Sesame Street in the world when all the poets they just sing out the alphabet. It'll take 1 year for them to complete stating
Mm.
covering each and every letter. So yep, possibly I could learn one of them in the future. I'd love to.
Right? That's good. Yeah, good person.
Yes, sir. Dakshana, instead of
Oh yeah,
learning,
2000. I'm sorry, I said 200, right? Yeah,
yes,
more
no,
than three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, na, Dakshana, instead of learning Chinese or Japanese, na, you try to learn Korean language. Na, that will be more interesting.
Yeah, that's what we are trying to
Yeah,
learn from you, good person. The kind of accent that you are using these days, we are trying to learn from.
Sir, I have also, I am also in learning stage of Korean, sir. I'll learn soon.
Beautiful.
I know
Okay.
why he's learning. Uh, Guru, you like BTS, right?
Not like that, na.
Not like that. Then what is? That's not one of the reasons. That's what you're saying.
Nah, I like BTS, not so much. I don't like music so much. Na 50 only, 50% out of 100 only I like music.
So, like, whenever BTS does something out of the box, he just puts them in a story or WhatsApp status, and whenever
He
something
does.
happens to BTS,
He turns himself into Aswathaman's mode sometimes. He doesn't know what he does sometimes. You know, sometimes he
Sir,
puts up the
not like
status
that,
of
sir.
Virat Kohli.
Sir, if I say I
Sometimes
am
he puts up
BTS fan,
status of Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli fumbles in that match. He carries a kind of a doomsday events into his mind. So when Guru Prasanna is putting up some status, then the person who is concerned in the status, bad thing happens to that person that day or in that week. So we got to be very careful with it.
sir, not like that, sir. Sir, why I am like not saying I'm BTS fan means, sir, if at all I say I'm BTS fan means my friends and all will do fun with me, sir, so that I'll not say.
Who cares about what others think about your preferences, rap? If you like BTS, go ahead, listen to their songs. No. I like only classical people. I have my own taste and preferences. And when I'm working out, I would like to listen to that. When I'm going for a walk, I would like to listen to that. So your music is, I'm literally sick of this attitude. I made a research in the recent times that the current teenagers are too worried about what their friends are thinking about their tastes and preferences. I don't know what's so cool in that. If your friends are making fun out of what you are having as a preference, then don't give a damn about it. I don't think you'll have to worry about it. And off late, I have been listening from you saying this quite often. It's a bad habit. Rather a bad habit, I would like to say it is a weak habit. Why do you worry about what the other people are thinking about your taste and preferences? You live your life. That's it. The only thing, or the only angle in which you'll have to think about the others should be when you are a leader and you're working for others. That's when you got to be worried about the other people's opinions about you. Out of that arena, you need not consider yourself as a football of others' opinions. I don't think so. Yeah, Dakshin.
yes, sir. Actually, some of my friends at school they say that Bruno Mars and like his latest band is called Silk Sonic. So they say that he's too like he always follows the old music a lot and tries to bring the throwbackness into it, and they don't like it and it's boring. But I don't give a damn about them. Just like you said, I just
Mm.
listened to his latest album, which is basically based on in the 70s and 80s style. So I like it because that's my personal preference, and like we should not care about what
Yes.
others think.
Yeah, there are always people. Okay, fine. So pick up the callers of those people who say that Bruno Mars is bad or BTS is bad, or any musical band for that matter, and ask them, okay, tell me which is better. Fine. So my preference, BTS is not good. Okay, my friend Dakshin Siddharth's preference, Bruno Mars, he is not a good pop singer. Then who is yours? If they come up with their own justifications and reasons, you put your mind and analyze. நீ சொல்றதுக்கு பதிலா அவன் வேற ஒன்று சொல்றதுல வந்துட்டு பெரிய நியாயம் இருக்கு அப்படின்னு உங்க மனசாட்சிக்கு தெரிஞ்சதை மட்டும் obey பண்ணு. That is also if you are so much worried about the other people's opinions. But I'll tell you what, if you go to that extent of asking those people about, okay, fine, so mine is bad. Okay, what's yours? Okay, so Some X, fine. Give me the reason why you like him more than my preference towards BTS. Mostly, you will get a stupid answer because they try to prove a point that they are trying to oppose you. You see, human psychology ஒரு மோசமான ஒரு behavior இருக்கு. என்னன்னா, when there is a popular movie, everybody is saying the movie is good. A critic will be there who will say that the movie is really bad. He tries to capture attention. Even on the road, when there is huge traffic, okay, so you go towards the traffic and one person escapes the traffic and coming opposite to you, and he will give you a kind of a scan stating that it will take at least 2 hours to clear, okay, right? So that's a sadistic pleasure, right? So these people hold that sadistic pleasure internally and they are trying to, their only intention is to hurt and make you feel down, that whatever you think is really ruined and whatever you think is really awkward. So they are patients, psychic patients. So I don't want you to highlight them and put them on the high regard of your friendship. Yeah, good question.
Sir, before asking that itself, if I say I'm BTS fan, sir, they'll all fight with me, sir.
Then you are not in a school. You are in an asylum. I'm really sorry that you have been joining in an asylum instead of a school. No, lose thermal. Who the bloody hell is he to fight you when you say your preference? And if I were you, I will slap on his face. I'm sorry if I'm really rude. How could a person come and antagonize a particular preference that I have? And what bloody rights he has to do that? Come on, give me an answer. What bloody right he has for that? When I say something, okay, I like bodybuilding, okay, I like kabaddi as a sport, okay, I like soccer as a sport, okay, I like classical music as the music, okay, like I like Carnatic music. So when I say Carnatic music, and he comes and says, what, Carnatic music? Oh, come on, I mean, get a life. It's music emerged from Carnatic music. And if that fool is not aware of that particular fact, then it's not my responsibility. And if he comes and fights on that, then I would say I'll fight back and I will break his jaw just to prove a point. You're so sensitive about your friend's opinion. That's a bad thing. Good that you have revealed that, and it's a good thing that this counseling is happening. I don't want you to give so much of importance towards what your friends are considering as opinions and how your taste and preference is being judged by your friends. That's immaterial. That's what I would like to say.
Yes, sir. Sir, at the time I'll think like that, sir. After that, I'll just think they are all my friends. But go.
Okay, that's your maturity. Fine. But actually, your question is due towards Siddharth, sir. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
6:15.
I'll wrap it up with this. So, Siddharth, your presentation was really good. What I noticed was it was your best presentation as far as I've noticed. Not only because it was lengthier than usual, also because of the way you designed all the slides. It was really creative. Certain slides were really creative, and I also noticed the thank you slide where in the background you had all the anime characters, and you made those little details stand out. And actually, a good presentation, a good PowerPoint presentation always enhances your overall performance, which was the key here. And also, you spoke in a very calm and collected manner. Last time I was here, I witnessed Danish was best version of himself, and now I'm witnessing your best version. So it was really good to witness both of you uh, American brothers doing great things. So my question towards you is, Japan has went through a lot of things in its history, right? From conquering China initially, and then they got beaten up by the United States of America. They took a wrong decision to attack the Pearl Harbor, and they paid the price by getting the atomic bombs from America. And then since then, Japan has been subjected to a lot of disasters. It lies in an earthquake-prone region, as you all know, and they are very they are highly probable to getting earthquakes every now and then. And then also, when we talk about the Fukushima nuclear accident, it was the second worst after Chernobyl. And despite all that, Japan is one of the most developed countries in the world as far as technology goes, and they are really innovative, and I think Japan is the most innovative country in the world. What they do is absolutely out of the box. They do stuff which no other countries think of, and that always fascinates me. And they are so proud of their culture that they even put their signatures down in Japanese. They don't even use a single English letter in their signatures, which is absolutely mind blowing. So, despite all these negative things which they've been facing throughout their history and even presently, they still managed to come out on top. And what do you think is the reason behind all this? Like, how can a country, despite being subjected to a lot of negative entities, still come out on top and be different than the others?
I think they did all of this because of everything they've done in the past and how much wealth they have, like how much power they have in the world. Because in Japan, there's many people in Japan working a lot, making money for the companies, and then the companies having a lot of power in Japan itself. And then these people work together, and then Japan itself, because of the development of the country and how much their economy has grown, they're able to make such decisions. Yeah.
Okay, so that's nice answer. So
Thank you.
it's time. May I leave,
It's
sir?
time, okay, right. Right, so once you join tomorrow, Dakshin, you will have to fulfill the unfinished business of last week.
Yes, I'll do it, sir.
Right. Okay, fine. Expect great things and done. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Expect good
Dakshina.
things.
Expect great things to lose.
Adduction keeps shining less strong.
Right. Okay, so now, Guru Prasanna, you got to take the responsibility of explaining what is OBT for Siddharth, because Taneshwar has started doing OBT for a couple of days now, and now we have to instill Siddharth Saranakumar into it. So come on, take this opportunity and explain Siddharth what is OBT.
Yes, sir. So that I'm audible, right?
You're audible, Guru.
Yes, Siddharth. So OBT, that's outbound training that we before 1 month we introduced in MS evening session. 1 month or so we introduced in MS evening sessions. That's while the class is going on, like after the class or like if sir sends the link before the class, like if you wake up at 7 or in your time, by the time of sir sends telling means you shall do after 1 hour of class by 8 you shall do the OBT. OBT is nothing but we should do the workouts, like you could do anything that you want, push-ups, speed walking, toe jogging, sit-ups, planks, skipping. If you have skipping, you shall do. If you have the space around you, you shall do football skills. You shall you shall have the basketball. You shall do basketball tapping, or you shall do the things which you could in your house with the materials that you have in your house. By doing this, like if you just tell what you have done at the time in CRS, sir in for Indian batch, sir has inserted two columns. One is about outbound training, that's OBT, and the other one is sportsmanship on outbound training. That like in sportsmanship, how punctual you are. It will be showing how punctual you are. If you are doing it on a regular basis, you'll you will get marks on the punctuality and the sportsmanship. And for the OBT and for OBT, how many minutes and which are all the exercise you're doing at that time, that counts for the OBT. That's it. Thank you. So that you understood, right?
Yes, Guru. Thank you, Guru.
Okay.
Right, so as Guru Prasanna mentioned, Siddharth, it is basically under the umbrella of MS evening sessions, making people work in terms of mind and in terms of body. Like for as of right now, if you could see, we had almost 1 hour of session of speaking, presenting, questioning, and all that. And now the other 40 minutes of the session, we are going to do some physical activity. Like if you take Sibi Adityan, for example, he is doing speed walking, skipping, and some other sport activity. If you take Guru Prasanna, he's been regular almost. This Sibi Adityan and Guru Prasanna have been very regular in OBT in the past 1 month. Guru Prasanna does, since he is a 9th grader like you, I have allowed him to do push-ups, speed walking, planks, and stretches. And Taneshwar, in his 2 days of OBT, he used his dumbbells for strengthening, getting into strengthening exercises, and also stretching. Aswathaman is my nunchaku student, so he spins nunchucks for some time, and I have asked him not to do push-ups because he's only in the 7th grade, so his bones are not yet ready for getting expanded for push-ups, but he does the stretching. So Dakshin, I don't think he's doing anything because once he comes to direct, he plays. Other than that, Mitra, I'm asking her to go for speed walking. That's the only thing that she does. So now, what are all the activities you will be doing in the OBT?
For me, sir, I have a gym nearby, so I would do speed walking, running, and weightlifting, I think.
Okay. So if you do that, that is added in the CRS of your regular thing. Now, Taneshwar has got 2 additions in CRS. That is the original reason why I have asked both of you to attend the classes as maximum as possible during this winter break. So from today you shall start. Now these guys are going to do their OBT now, so you can start. And once you finish, you need to update what you have done. So you do not send any messages. The forthcoming session, the next day, the subsequent session, you can answer or you can update what are the things that you have done.
Okay, sir.
Sivi Adityan. Sibi.
Sir?
What was your yesterday's OBT? You didn't update, so I thought of getting it from you directly.
Sir, mine is 15 minutes speed walking, sir. Then 3 activities, then 10 sit-ups and one toe touching, sir. That's all, sir.
All right, fine. Okay, so we are going to have the presentation by Taneshwar only tomorrow. And what was the activity? Taneshwar, do you remember what was the activity in which we left halfway through and we are going to continue tomorrow? Can you update on that?
Was it like a fortune doctor?
Fortune bag, I brought that in the interim for you and Guru Prasanna exclusively. Guru Prasanna, what was the activity?
Sir, I did not remember, sir. I'll go see your video, sir, and I will say.
So this particular answer is a good enough answer for earning a minus in your CRS. Do you know
Sir,
that?
I have wrote in my but not bring it. Sir. I'll just go take that.
You need to take that notebook, go to the left-hand corner of Skype's top window, and you go down to last week and check up the chats. You will immediately get the memory. All of you do that. Go back to 1 week. I think.
Sunday, sir. Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, was it that?
We don't have the name for the activity, but you had 1 full hour of discussion, all of you.
Yes, sir. We did not have name, sir.
Right. I'm sharing something. I want everybody to look into it. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What you're seeing is the channel content of MS Evening Sessions. It's the official channel of MS Evening Sessions. As you can see, this was yesterday. Tanesh, Guru, and Sibi made My Fortune with the Fortune Bag. And the previous session was My Fortune with the Fortune Bag foundation setting. The four-way hollow way, that's the activity you people were planning. It's called as the four-way hollow way. And before that, we had presentation on vision by Siddharth, and before that we had presentation on computers by Tanishwar, and before that we had Dr. Jainis Kurs. Yeah, and then we had the information clarity on law of attraction, where Aswathaman wanted the information. Presentations on book reading by Aswathaman, and cynical janitor activity, where Mitra joined. That was in December.
Sir, when we did individual activities, sir, myself,
Yeah,
Aswatthama, Mitra, and
correct. That was on December 15th. So that's how it is. So, and before that, we had a lot of other things. So, the activity's name is the four-way holloway. And I mentioned, I named that activity and that was put into the chat. You guys also appreciated the name, but now, so yeah, this was
sir,
when anime
long
and photo.
time, no, sir, so that we forgot. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, long time, very long time. We had Bharat Ratna, real-time problems, stock market. Siddharth made a presentation about stock market. So why I'm showing this is it's a big library of MS evening sessions. You have more than almost about 500 videos here. So whenever you have any doubts or anything to check on, what you're supposed to do is just Google MS evening sessions and you will have all these things in the Google response. No
Yes.
other names will come and jumble. So MS evening sessions will have, I mean, if you just get into this video, you will automatically have a view. So
Sir,
all of my
today
work
you posted one video, no, sir? Morning.
on
Afternoon.
suicidal attempts. Yeah.
Yes, sir, I did not watch. I'll go watch that video, sir, soon.
Yeah, that's part one. You know, that's only part one.
Sir, I
I
thought
have
of watching it,
set,
sir. Suddenly, guest came.
no problem. You can take your time. You can take your time. This is a three video series in which I speak about the solutions for removing the suicidal thoughts of an youngster, because India has increased number of suicide attempts amongst teenagers. So I thought of making the video.
Sir,
It was
yesterday only
very
I saw a news, sir. I did not know it was latest news, sir. Girl, sir, failed in NEET exam. It seems, sir, he attempted suicide.
attempted suicide. That's point. That's precisely the point why I have come up with that video. And the first part is coming up with only the 8 reasons of why a person is pushing himself or herself towards suicide thought. And the second part will contain the 5 solutions. And I'm involving 2 therapies into it, my own therapy. And I have explained that. And the third part of the video will contain uh, the conclusion. I've clearly wanted to make a full English video, but off late for the past 1 year, some of my subscribers had been asking me to make videos in a bilingual way. Your English is too fast, your English is too tough to follow, please make videos in Tamil and all that. So
English, sir.
yeah, so from April 2020, I've started making videos in Tamil, including more in Tamil. Yeah, as you rightly mentioned, English and Tamil mixed on a vernacular basis. Even then, people said, "Illa sir, இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் தமிழ்ல பேசுங்க." And I had no choice. The first 100 or first 50 views, those are very genuine subscribers of my channel. And I'm not getting any profit from YouTube. I'm not getting paid by YouTube, but I'm working only for those, the first 50 people who are watching. People like you and my former students and some of the college students I trained in the past. So that's how it is.
Sir, you
Okay.
Who is that Usha Rani, sir?
Usha Rani, she was doing, a college in Udumalpet, GVG Visalakshi for women. You heard about it?
No, sir. Sir, you
Yeah,
like we were all when we are doing that sir that presentation on like
Activity.
myself and Sanjay did presentation on visualization, no sir. What
Right.
was activity, sir? Dreamline presentation, sir. Dreamline presentation.
Dreamland presentation and Usha Rani. In 2007, I visited the college, uh, and she was a first year student in that college. I think when you were born, when you were a 1 year old kid, I visited the college and she was the first year student. I was invited as a chief guest there, and she was a first year student. And now she became a graduate. She worked for an IT company for some years, and now she is following all my videos. And she has got counseling for her kid also very recently. So
Yes,
that's Usha.
yes, sir. Sir, I'll ask one question, sir. Not comedy, sir.
Yeah.
I'll ask two questions, sir, at least. One is comedy and one is serious, sir. One is like a quiz, sir. First, I'll ask quiz, sir. Who's which sportsman's birthday is today, sir? Not cricket, not football.
December 24th. Not cricket, not football.
Yes, sir. Indian player.
Mike Dhanraj Pillai. Okay.
No, sir. I like I don't know it is his birthday, sir, but it is Neeraj Chaudhary. Neeraj Chopra's birthday. Sir.
Neeraj Chopra's birthday. Okay. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's the other one?
Yes, sir. That's Kadi joke, sir. I'll say that.
Hmm.
Sir, what is the opposite for Malay Megam, sir? Malay Megam.
Malay might not come.
Yes, sir. Malay may not come. Correct.
One day I'm going to drive all the way down to Kurichi and I'm going to kidnap you and bring here, close the door, and I'm going to break your bones.
Sir, you should not do that for me, sir. Because of training only, I'm like, sir, our class itself like this only.
Yeah.
Not girls,
Okay.
boys, teachers, everyone are like this.
Beautiful. Right. Thanks for sharing. That was nice. On a lighter note. Siddharth Taneshwar, your OBT time officially starts. And we are closing the session today and we are continuing tomorrow. Tomorrow you might not be having OBT because for the first 15 minutes you are preparing and then you are doing the skit. So we might not be holding it up. And Dakshin Siddharth joins regularly, Guru Prasanna joins regularly because their winter break has started. So we will do something more effectively instead of cutting down the session as OBT. We will have the final 30 minutes as OBT and we will have the first, say, 45 minutes as properly neutered kind of session. Since it's an online session, I don't want to make you sit for 2 hours. We will make the session as 90-minute session in which 25-30 minutes will be OBT and the rest 45 minutes or 1 hour will be our regular session. That's a plan.
Yes, sir. Sir, see
Okay.
80 movie, sir. I did not see. Today it has been released in theater, sir.
Theater.
Yes, sir. Sony Live
No.
also it has been released, sir, but I did not.
Yes, Sony. It's been put into the OTT also. Sony Live, right?
Yes, sir.
I think that can be done, but I haven't got to the extent of visiting theaters. Siddharth and Tanishwar, how about the theaters and shopping malls there in the US? Omicron is troubling you?
The theaters are open, but like very few people go there now. And for the shopping mart, they're open as usual, but it's like they suggest that you wear a mask when you go inside.
So, Tanishwar, are you going somewhere on this winter break? Oh, your audio is very, very poor.
No, sir, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Right. So, Tanishwar, make sure you are making a presentation with proper audio tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine. Any questions, boys? Start your OPT and update me tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right. So Tomorrow's agenda is the four-way holloway activity should be completed, and Daneshwar's presentation. That's tomorrow's agenda. All right. So having said that, we will watch Taneshwar and Siddharth's CRS on Sunday. It's been a long time, so we will have the Indian batch's CRS on Monday. So that's a plan. So see you tomorrow in the session. Indian Standard Time, 5 o'clock, the link will be sent. Or if you're ready before that, I'll be good. So Taneshwar and Siddharth, once you both are ready, put the message in that group the three of us are having, so that I can send the link to these guys, and we can, the earlier we start, the earlier we finish.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, so having said that, Siddharth, Guru Prasanna, Taneshwar, and Sibhyaditya. Expect great things and live strong. See you tomorrow in the skit. Bye.
Bye, sir. Bye, everyone. Expect great
Yes,
things.
sir.
Bye.
I will.
Bye. Keep shining, live strong. Expect great things and live strong. Bye bye.
Bye.